Okay, all right. So, we're actually live. You ready to do a podcast?
Yes, I am.
All right. Let's do a podcast. Give me a second. I'm not prepared still. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready, sort of. Um I think I'm ready. Who knows? All right. Hello and welcome to Learning the Law podcast about all things legal with a focus on current events, where we try to teach you things in an hour. My name is Ashley, aka Phoenix Nymphy, and my co host, who is the man of the hour, my husband, Ronald. This podcast is purely educational and should not be taken as legal advice. This podcast does not create an attorney client relationship, and this podcast is based on his interpretation of relevant law, and any opinions expressed are the opinions of the individual making them and do not reflect the opinions of any firm, company, or other individuals. Ron is a licensed attorney in the state of California.
Yes, I am. And have been since September of 1999.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by NordVPN with more than 10 years of experience. NordVPN is a leading VPN provider. NordVPN gives you military grade protection online, and you can access all your favorite sites without restriction. NordVPN never logs your activity when using their servers, and you can always trust your privacy to NordVPN. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring Learning the Law. If you use our link, you can have access to all this, and you can also help out the podcast. Link is in the chat, and it will also be available in our description everywhere. So, yes, we are back. Originally, I was just going to record this and then post it later, but I figured just, you know, might as well just go live. Um, in case anybody has questions, we're kind of all over the place this week. I'm dealing with medical issues, and this is what you get. This is what you get. This is some heavy topics. This is a heavy topic. Oh, whoops, not the button I wanted to. There we go. It's a heavy topic. I'm posting everything in the chat on what we are going over. But we are back with part 2 of the Texas abortion law. And we haven't even gotten to the lawsuit that the DOJ has brought to Texas. So this is quite a bit. There's quite a bit going on. There's a lot of stuff unfolding. So we're slightly behind, but there's a reason for that. We want to make sure to get you the best information, the most information, and the right information. We don't want to say something and then it turn out it be wrong. And because this is an educational podcast, so we will be slightly delayed in all of the information that comes out as it comes out. And for that reason, because we want to be able to muddle through that and make sure that we get you the right and the best information that we can. So, yeah, I guess let's just go ahead and start in. We are, for those of you who are following along, we are at section 209 in the actual bill. We are going through the actual law, what it actually states right now. It's kind of boring, but some of the information that's out there is not 100% correct. So we want to be able to give you the right information.
Correct. And when we say Section 209, that's the last three numbers in the section. It's the full section is Section 171.209.
Yeah, that is, yes, thank you. I'm turning off my phone because it's over here making noises. Let me turn that off. There we go. All right.
And what Section 209 does, it gives limitations on the undue burden defense. Now, what the undue burden defense is, Roe v. Wade said you cannot create an undue burden to women seeking an abortion procedure. They didn't really give any guidelines towards it. So this particular section, the state took it upon themselves to give limitations to this defense. Now, once again, this law does not go after the actual person who obtains the abortion, just those who have helped in whatever way, whether it's the doctor, the Uber driver.
Basically, what they're doing is they are punishing the woman by making her feel like crap because she's getting everybody around her in trouble. That's their goal, because people don't want to get into trouble because they've mistaken, because they've helped somebody. They didn't know they were helping somebody get an abortion, or stopping the abortions at the source with the doctors. But it is literally, this is to punish women for having an abortion.
Correct. And so the section says that a person sued under this law cannot assert the rights of a woman seeking an abortion as a defense to the lawsuit because they're a third person and they don't have standing to assert the rights of the woman. So in a nutshell, they've kind of taken that defense away from a person.
Because it's not the woman that it's directly affecting, even though it is.
Now, they do make an exception if the United States Supreme Court holds that the Texas courts must confer that standing on the defendant to this lawsuit. Good luck with that.
Can you explain that in layman's terms?
Yeah. If the United States Supreme Court comes out with a ruling in a case brought before it that says that a third party, not the woman itself, but say the doctor or whoever gives her cash for the abortion, if anyone, has the constitutional right to assert that defense, and the states have to follow that ruling, then this particular section of the law is overruled.
Gotcha. So, because I do believe, I read an article today about how women are driving thousands of miles alone so that they do not cause other people to get into trouble for having an abortion. And they are driving thousands of miles to go to a different state.
Here's how broad and vague this law is. Did they buy some gas to go? Who sold them that gas? The person who sold them the gas to go is now aiding and abetting her getting...
What? That is such... Are you serious?
Sure. You can take this aid and abet thing to the extreme.
This is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. This is... Okay.
If she pays for the service with a credit card, I think I said this before, is Visa, or MasterCard or whichever credit card you got,
Right.
aiding and abetting her?
Right. No, I
What's the
mean,
difference between Visa paying for it and her father or mother giving her cash? There is no difference.
and they did it that way on purpose so that they could go to those extremes.
Yeah. And hopefully, such an overbroad and vague writing of the law will be its undoing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, a defendant can establish undue burden if um, well, it says nothing in this section shall in any way limit or preclude a defendant from asserting the defendant's personal constitutional rights as a defense to liability. That's a defendant to the lawsuit. And the court may not award relief if the conduct for which the defendant has been sued was an exercise of state or federal constitutional rights that personally belong to the defendant.
Meaning
Religious liberty.
Okay, so if I were someone with the we'll say satanic temple, because we know that a lot of the GOP people, that technically Christianity supports abortion, but the Christians don't see it that way. So we'll go with satanic temple because they deliberately have it in their bylaws that says that they have every right to have an abortion.
Correct.
So if say I was part of the satanic temple and I was driving someone to an abortion, that is my God-given right to be able to support them. Gotcha.
Correct. If you can make a freedom of speech argument, that would also be a defense.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, basically, I foresee a rise in membership of certain religions.
Yep. And I think we said this in the last episode that the satanic temple, the several Jewish, I don't know what to call, not synagogues, but sects, like SECTS,
Yeah.
are that are in Texas are also filing suit.
Right, because from my understanding, Jewish law
Does not prohibit abortion.
Is correct. In fact, there's a ritual that actually performs an abortion.
Mm-hmm. Which sounds very much like a lot of the, if you read it, it's a known, like, I mean, Native Americans have a way, a lot of indigenous cultures have a way to naturally abort people, just abort, a fetus just by taking herbal teas and all that stuff. Like, there's this stuff was created, this stuff is made,
right.
like this is something that's been in practice for millennia. It's only in the 1900s that abortion became a thing. Abortion rights became a problem.
Okay, so that's section 209.
Do I need to lock him in the bedroom?
Probably, because
he's been fed. They've been outside. There's water, and we're even an hour late, and he's still barking at us.
Yeah, he didn't bark the previous hour.
Nope. He didn't have a problem with us sitting at the computer the previous hour. I'll be right back. It's because we're doing the podcast.
I think maybe he doesn't like the headphones. Different headphones.
Oh, I should have just done it before the podcast. Oh well. Okay. So, back at it.
Okay. Section 210. This section is entitled Civil Liability Venue. So the lawsuit has to be brought in the county in which all or a substantial part of the event or omission giving rise to the claim occurred. So, for example, if you're in Texas and somebody gives you money for the abortion, they have to sue in the county where they gave you the money. However, if you cross state lines and someone gives you money in another state, you can't bring a lawsuit against that person because Texas law has no jurisdiction.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So
You
it can
can.
only, I mean, so it's very limited. It can only be in that area. So basically, if someone traveled cross country and had to get gas a couple of times, you'd have to bring a lawsuit every time that person got gas.
That's one of them. That's one venue. The next one is the county of residence for any one of the natural person defendants at the time the cause of action accrued.
Meaning, what does that mean? Natural person defendants?
Yeah, that means an actual real live living person as opposed to a business.
Okay.
So you can sue in the county of the resident that gave you the money, for example, even if it's not the county of the person receiving the money, or even if you receive the money out of state.
Okay. Okay, can you have an example like with actual cuz that I'm so confused right now.
Yeah. So we already took care of the first one. Section 2 gets around the giving the out of state. So if you're in Houston County
Mhm.
and your benefactor lives in Smith County, and I don't know if those are real counties, I'm just making them up. And he gave you money or she gave you money or they gave you money in Louisiana, the person would have to sue in Smith County because that's the county of residence of the person that
Okay, but
gave you cash.
what if you are the person that gave you the cash lives out of the state completely?
If they live out of the state, tough luck.
Okay.
They can't sue
This
so
is
far.
only for okay. All right. Cuz that's what I was thinking like so you have say we live in Texas and I am going to get an abortion and my parents give me money. They live in
Yeah,
Georgia.
correct.
They can't be sued. They're safe.
No, they cannot be sued.
And I travel, say, from El Paso all the way to Oklahoma. That's a long drive. I'm going to be stopping to get gas, food, all kinds of stuff on the way up there. I mean, so that's we'll average that at two stops for gas and, 3 stops for food. It's probably more than that, but we'll just, round it out. So it's 5 places. So each of those places, because we're going to assume they're in different counties, each of those places would get sued. And then you can sue people.
Potentially sued.
Okay, so each of those places can potentially get sued. And then people that work there get sued?
Potentially. Yeah, just like an Uber versus an Uber driver.
Wow.
They'd be suing both.
That's
even
okay.
if the Uber driver doesn't even know
Right.
that he's taking you. I mean, they just know an address and drop you off.
So I read in the article, it was also stating about one woman, because she didn't have the money to have someone watch her kids that she already had. She took them with her. Are those kids liable to get sued?
I don't know what Texas law is concerning suing a minor,
Because they
but
don't have a
ge-
choice. They're going with their mother.
generally you would have to sue the guardian ad litem, you know, which in
So
this
then
case
you
would be
would
the
be
mother,
suing the mother for having an abortion.
which is specifically against the statute.
But she drug her kids with her.
Yeah,
So
and they're minors.
see
If
how
her,
messed up that is? Like, you're suing the mother to get to the kids, but in reality, you're just suing the mother.
I do think even in Texas they would throw that one out.
I don't know, man. Do you see what we're reading right now?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The kids, like, they don't want to support. Anyway, we're going through this. I'm going to
Okay.
try and rein in the opinion stuff a bit. All right. So that's
Okay. The third place you can bring the lawsuit is the county of the principal office in the state of Texas of any one of the defendants that is not a natural person, that is a business or corporation.
right. So we've already established that.
Yeah.
So basically, what it boils down to is the business and the people who work in the business and the owners of the business could potentially be sued.
Correct.
So
And
stupid.
then number 4 is the county of residence for the person suing if the person is a natural person residing in Texas. So the last place they can bring it is the county that they live in.
So basically, this is just giving them options on where they can sue people.
Correct.
Well, the lazy man is going to do it in their own county. Be like, I know that, Maureen over here got an abortion and she went to the AMPM to get gas. So I want to sue them for supporting her abortion.
Yes. Now, that particular portion would come under attack under a due process claim because that turns 200 plus years of American jurisprudence on its head.
What's jurisprudence?
Legal process.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, going
because
through
you've
all of
always
this stuff, it just completely flies in the face of what we've already established in this country as far as the as far as how the legal system goes. Like, all of this is just a big middle finger to the Department of Justice in this country. It may, like, not only is it Roe v. Wade, but like, it's allowing you to sue anyone for anything that you can't even, how can you prove that they got an abortion? Because that's none of your business, right? Like, that's what I don't understand. That's what gets me the most about this thing is, how do you know that they actually got an abortion and you're going to waste all of this money and this time to sue people for something you don't even know if it happened, because it's against HIPAA for you to even get access to the records to find out if she got an abortion?
Here's the thing with that. Most people in Texas that are going to get sued under this probably don't understand or heard of what HIPAA is. So they're going to go to a deposition. They're going to be asked all these questions, and they're going to think that they have to answer them.
That's why you should not be going to a deposition without an attorney.
Most of them are not going to be able to afford it.
Well,
They will
I
have to
invoke my Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Like, you don't. So, if you are from Texas and you are listening, you do not have to answer these questions. You are not under any obligation to answer questions about your health
Now,
care.
I have to expand on that for a minute. The Fifth Amendment usually is used in criminal actions
Right.
where you can't not testified against yourself. You usually cannot bring it in a civil action. However, at the start of this law, they said that it's they're banning it and it's illegal.
It's
It's
not
against the law.
criminal, but it's criminal.
They're leaving the enforcement up to a private citizen. You can still invoke your Fifth Amendment rights.
Oh, that another way. Okay. Again, why they're trying to get around the criminal thing. Jesus, man. But yes, the main takeaway of this is you don't have to tell people that you got an abortion.
Correct.
You have those rights to keep that private. So if they do drag you in there, you don't have to say a freaking word because they don't have that right.
And furthermore, do not tell anybody if you're pregnant. Unless you're, planning on keeping it to term.
Well, and here's the thing that really, really irks me about this situation. There are people who you get pregnant and they're like in the second trimester, something comes up and it's not going to be a viable pregnancy, or there's all kinds of things that can come up during that second trimester. And you have the right to choose an abortion. Like, it doesn't, like, why? Anyway, I feel like I'm talking in circles right now about this, so it's best to just move on.
You'll love this next section, Section 211. Sovereign, governmental, and official immunity preserved.
Excuse me. Does that mean that if Ted Cruz gets a woman pregnant and gets her helps her have an abortion, he doesn't get sued?
Correct.
That is so messed up.
This state, I'm going to read this section. This state has sovereign immunity. A political subdivision has governmental immunity, and each officer and employee of this state or political subdivision has official immunity in any action, claim, or counterclaim, or any type of legal or equivalent action that challenges the validity of any provision or application of this chapter. So it's not just Ted Cruz. It could be a police officer.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. I'm just bringing up Ted Cruz because we all know that he is the worst.
Historically, the GOP give their mistresses abortions.
Right. So this section right here is just, I mean, like, each section is proof, but this section right here is proof that they are covering for themselves and they are exempt from everything. This is literally covering the tracks for GOP and Republicans. That's it. Nobody else can have this, but Republicans can. That's what that section says. Nobody else can have this because historically, poor people are not Republican. They're Democrat because they're the ones who need the help.
Yeah. Plus, a rich person's always going to be able to get an abortion, even if they were outlawed 20, 30 decades ago. They've always been able to get one. and
So
and a
wow,
safe one at that.
that is so messed up. That's so messed up. There's not much to say about that other than that is a direct attack against any person who does not um support the GOP.
And then the next section, section 212, it's really just a housekeeping legal process kind of section. It's called severability, section 212. And basically, all this mumbo jumbo and legalese says if any part of this law is found to be unconstitutional,
Which
the
all of it
other part,
is.
the other parts are still valid.
But what if the entire thing is unconstitutional?
If the entire thing is unconstitutional, then the whole law is thrown out.
Good.
But say that immunity clause is unconstitutional, so you could sue Ted Cruz. If that's the only portion that they find unconstitutional, the rest of the law stands.
God. And based off of one of the previous sections, if Ted Cruz had an abortion, if he paid for an abortion a few years ago, he could be sued now. Based off of one of the sections earlier, remember?
Yes.
So, because according to that section, it was like 207 or 208. According to that section, it didn't matter what time, if it was pre Roe v. Wade, during Roe v. Wade, you can sue them.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And so you get to get through the mumbo jumbo. You get to a section called 30.022, which is the award of attorney's fees in actions challenging abortion laws.
Okay.
And in this, you will find that that the prevailing party challenging an abortion law does not get their attorney's fees.
Prevailing party.
All right. So if you successfully sue and get the abortion law overturned in Texas, you're
Oh, I
not
was
going to
able
get
to
your
mute
attorney's fees.
myself before I sneezed. I'm proud of that. Okay, can you say that again?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear it. I was sneezing.
If you successfully sue in the state of Texas and have this law overturned, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to get your attorney's fees. You're going to still have to pay for it yourself.
Okay.
And that goes, looks like it goes all the way through state appellate.
Nah, you're gonna pay for it because I'm gonna keep pushing it. This basically it's to stop people from trying to sue and overturn this case or overturn this law. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a delayed yes.
Well, I'm scanning the text at the same time I'm answering.
Okay.
Okay, so then you go down and there's a section 171.005 that says
Oh, hold up.
basically
Where are you?
I'm on page 17.
This doesn't have page numbers, this thing that I'm looking at, so
It's a few ways down because you got to go through all the legalese of.
I see section 5311.036, construction of abortion statutes.
Yeah.
Have you passed
You
that?
can. Yeah, I went past that because that section just explains how an abortion law needs to be worded or
Okay.
coded.
Okay.
It's boring, it's legalese, and doesn't have any effect on the law itself.
Gotcha. Okay. Section 6171.005.
Yes.
Health and Safety Code.
Yeah. Except for subchapter H, which we don't have subchapter H here. This shall be enforced exclusively through the private civil enforcement action described in Section 208 and may not be enforced by a commission. In this case, the Health and Safety Commission.
Right. I mean, that's so, like, we all understand that.
Right. And then here we have another section, 171.008, the required documentation if an abortion is performed, what the physician must do. And it says a physician shall place the document described, which was the medical record, or I'm sorry, not the medical record, but the record of the abortion in the pregnant woman's medical record.
Basically, it's a doctor's note for work.
Yeah.
They have to write a certification on why this abortion is necessary.
Right. And he has to keep it in his own records.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Disclosing any of that would violate HIPAA.
Right. So they just have to put it in the notes, but nobody can actually see it. So
correct.
You'll never know whether or not a doctor does that or not.
Right. And if a physician does perform or induce an abortion, he has to execute a written document that there was a medical condition that the abortion is asserted to address, prove the medical rationale for his conclusion.
And all of this is just stuff that goes into
the medical
records. None of this is stuff that people
can access.
Will actually see.
Correct.
So doctors can say they're complying with that and they don't have to. That's the thing. They can't prove whether or not a doctor is complying with these things.
Right. And the other thing is, even if they kept the note, do they have to keep a competent note? I mean, he could just say, I think this is necessary.
Yeah, like, so, okay.
I mean, this law doesn't question the medical discretion of the doctor.
Right.
I mean, there's, a lot of poor doctors that don't keep the documentation for heart attacks, much less anything else.
And then it looks like it just goes down and continues to say what the doctor needs to put in.
Right.
But who's going to know?
Right. For example, the probable gestational age at the time the abortion is performed.
You can flub that.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but a good doctor would. Because a good doctor would know that this is a bullshit law. A good doctor probably wouldn't give a crap about this. So while, yes, doctors can be sued, you have to prove that the doctor actually did the abortion.
Right. And
how are you going to prove that the doctor actually did the abortion without looking at medical records? You can't.
And who knows? The doctor may be a member of the Satanic Temple.
Right? Or a Jewish doctor.
And he has the religious liberty to perform it.
Yeah, there's a lot of way. The thing about this law is it's going to flood the Justice Department with bullshit legal things. So everything else is, so, they'll, because while we're focused on this, they're also trying to, Texas is also, by the way, trying to overturn the, I can't remember what the name of it is, but basically it's a law where indigenous children who are removed from their homes are placed in indigenous homes. And they're trying to remove that and say, no, these indigenous kids can go anywhere. And there's a reason why you want indigenous, like, there's a reason why Native Americans, indigenous people want their kids to be in their same, they want the kids to grow up indigenous so they can learn their culture and their heritage. They should be placed with their people. And that is a law that the Texas has asked SCOTUS to overturn.
Correct.
So while they're doing this, they're also doing that. Like, they are deliberately attacking children, marginalized children and marginalized families with these laws and with these decisions. Is that...
Oh, yeah.
Are we done?
We're almost done. I mean, the rest of this is just the actual form that the physician has to fill out. It's just...
that's what it looks like. The rest of this looks like it's not.
Yeah. So we are basically done with the Texas heartbeat law.
So, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from this so far? Because next week we'll start to address the DOJ lawsuit and go through that and talk about that.
The biggest thing so far to me is, one, this law is blatantly unconstitutional as long as Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Parent Planned are the law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
It is unconstitutional in that the state has given up their enforcement of the law to private citizens. It's a lack of due process. It is over broad, vague. They don't even limit potential people suing to citizens of Texas. I could sue someone in Texas.
Oh, let's file a lawsuit against Ted Cruz. You know he's paid for an abortion.
Oh yeah, he'll assert the governmental immunity.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, now I will say one of the things that I find funny is that TikTokers are flooding the tip lines.
Oh yeah, the first thing I would do would be to sue every person that voted for this law. I would sue them.
Yeah. It's just like...
Not only would I sue them, I would sue their family.
Yeah, because they supported you.
Ted Cruz may have governmental immunity. I will guarantee you the rest of his family does not.
Oh, sue his wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still with the man who potentially paid for an abortion.
Yeah, because guess what? He probably gave you money out of a joint checking account. Money came out of your account. I can sue you.
Wow. That's... I hate, like, it is... On the one hand, it is like a brilliant piece of legislature because you can see exactly what they're doing. But on the other hand, it is the most evil piece of legislature that I've ever seen because they are circumventing how you actually enforce a law by putting it in the hands of the citizens. So that's basically, you are putting people in a situation of another, of like, all those people that took zip ties and stuff like that to January 6th, to the insurrection, and the group of people who tried to arrest the teacher or the principal because she was enforcing mask mandates and she quarantined that kid. Like, you're putting the law in the hands of those people. You're putting the law in the hands of those people. That's who you're putting the law in the hands of. It's scary. And the thing is, they think they have... Here's how I see it. You have Redneck Bill, right, who is full on QAnon, full on Christian rights, full on all that stuff, you know, abortion's wrong, blah, 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 black people are the worst, blah, blah, blah. You know, you got those people, right? You got Redneck Bill, who's going to look at someone and say, well, she's probably had an abortion because she's a Democrat, so I'm going to sue the people around her, right? Because this law allows you, if you suspect someone has had an abortion, to do that. And that's
Right.
just like, I think she's had an abortion, so I'm going to go file a lawsuit. Okay. But do you know if she's had an abortion? Like, you don't even know. That's what blows my mind about this. You don't even know, and you don't have the right to know. That's what I really don't understand about this particular situation. Like, you literally do not have the right to know whether or not I've had an abortion. You don't. You can ask. I don't have to answer that question. For those of you who are wondering, no, I haven't. Would I? It depends on the situation. And I think that's how you should look at life. Do I believe in abortion? I believe in choice. I don't want to have an abortion if I ever got pregnant, but if I had to, I would. Because it depends. It depends. You don't know anybody's situation. You don't know what anybody's going through. You don't know what that physical toll is on that person. You don't know what that mental toll is on that person. You don't know what their life is. You don't know anything about them. But you're going to force them to bring a child into this world that they're going to resent because they were raped, or they condom broke, or just a mistake, or any number of things. Any number of things. There was one case that I read where a minor drove to another state to have an abortion because she was raped by a family member. A family member. And do you know that Governor Abbott's excuse on not having concessions for rape and incest is that they're going to end rape? That's not how this works. That's not how this works.
Is the most asinine answer I've heard come out of his mouth.
Should you end rape? Yes, you should. But you're not going to end it like this.
There's something else about Texas. They are backlogged almost 20 years on rape kits. They just passed a law in 2019 that is supposed to hasten the process of processing them.
They don't care about women. Texas does not care about women, and they especially don't care about you if you are a woman of color.
If you don't process a rape kit, I guess that's one way of ridding the state of rapists, because they won't be found guilty.
And the only way to excuse the abortion, if I remember correctly, is you have to prove that you were raped. You have to prove that you were raped. How do you prove
If
that you were raped when
without when they can't do a rape kit?
they can't do a rape kit, when 90% of people don't listen to us when we talk about it.
And just about every rape defendant out there says it was consensual.
Yeah. You will never get rid of rape like this. You will.
If I was in Congress, I would like to introduce some legislation that says if you are civilly sued for asserting your constitutionally given rights or helping another person get help their constitution rights, you are due damages from the person who sued you equal to 3 times the amount that they are suing you for.
That would definitely stop people from suing so many people. And my final thought on this before we end and move on to the DOJ's lawsuit. There are no damages to you as a person who has nothing to do with a woman's right to choose. Even though they've established damages, there's literally no damages. It affects nothing. Someone going to a doctor does not affect anybody else. Someone going to the doctor to get a procedure does not affect you in any way, shape, or form, regardless of the fact that Texas claims it does. It doesn't. Unless you are in there with me and the doctor looks at you and says, even if you are with me, it doesn't affect you. Even if you are in the actual building, in the room with me as I'm talking to the doctor, it still doesn't affect you. You know why? It is not your body. And for those of you who are screaming, my body, my choice, about the masks, what about a woman's body and a woman's choice to do what she wants with her body? Where's the same energy? Because let me tell you, pregnancy is not contagious. I can't get you pregnant if I were pregnant. That's not how that works. And a woman can only get pregnant maybe. Well, actually, hold up. We've actually talked about this last week, but I'm going to say it again. A woman is only fertile one week out of the month, maybe 2 weeks out of the month. Okay? A woman can only get pregnant once a month. Once every. Well, there are weird accidents where they actually end up getting pregnant twice within that month, and that's where, that's a way to have twins. Okay? Because you can conceive, but a woman cannot conceive as many times as a man can create. Do you understand this? Do you understand that the egg, we are born with a specific amount of eggs. When they drop, they only drop so many times. If you ovulate, it only drops one egg at a time, sometimes two. Occasionally there will be some weird like octuplet bull crap, but on average, one egg a month. A month, one egg. And you have 2 weeks to possibly get pregnant, okay? Okay? But that's still one egg a month. So you have 12 opportunities for a woman to get pregnant. For a person with a uterus and ovaries to get pregnant, 12. A man has 365 opportunities to impregnate a woman, if not more. So if a man were to go and have sex every single day of the year, with one woman, they could potentially impregnate every single one of those women. But every single one of those women can only get pregnant once a month and have a child every 9 months. So we can have a child once a year. That is it. That's it. So why are we not questioning where the men sit in this potential situation? Where are the men who are responsible? Because it takes two to tango. It's not just the woman, it's also the man. Why are we not questioning what happens to the man who impregnates this woman who gets an abortion?
Can I cut in just for a second? Since you say that, I would have to say that the statute is written vaguely enough that you could sue the father in this case. Because if she did not get pregnant, she wouldn't need an abortion. And therefore, you have aided and abetted the abortion itself. Just another legal theory. Okay, sorry.
You know what? I think that's a great way to end it. Go sue every man that's gotten a woman pregnant who has had an abortion. This law will get changed.
Not only that, it can be the woman getting the abortion that can sue him.
Yep. That's how we're going to fight this, ladies. You sue the baby daddy. It's done. That's how you get rid of this law. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Learning the Law. We will be back next week here on YouTube. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow and share in all your favorite places. You can find it hosted live here on YouTube, and you can use the hashtag Learning the Law on all social media to follow in more places. We are also on Twitter at Learning the Law. You can find Ron on Twitter at Necrokijo, Necrokijo, and me at Phoenix Nymphy. If you have any questions, please tweet, comment, or email us at twolazydogsmedia@gmail.com. This has been a Two Lazy Dogs production.